Hello everyone, welcome to another session of casting Alchemy League Season 6. Hello Tech, good to see you here. It's been a while since I last casted. Sorry, I had some stuff going on. Hello Lilirosa. Okay, so let's get straight to the point. So for today we have 3 sets planned. I chose sets from 3 different rounds, so there should be quite a decent map variety. And the first one is going to be between PlushWerewolf and Jasouki. So let's talk a little bit about the players. I've already casted PlushWerewolf, but let's introduce them anyway. So PlushWerewolf, American player from the US. He's around 1200. And if I recall correctly, he maybe played in a previous season of the Alchemy League, but aside from that, he's also an old member of the Discord channel. So maybe he hasn't played in as many seasons of the league as other players, but he should still be quite experienced when it comes to custom maps. Our second player is going to be Jasouki, who is a player from Spain, and he's around 1200. Well, a little bit lower than 1200, but as you can see, there isn't that much of a needle difference. So this should be an interesting set because it's going to be quite balanced skill-wise. So, as you might have gathered from the... Oh, and Jasouki, he also made a map for the tournament. I forget which one, but I know he's also a map maker and he's made at least one for this season. I think he also made maps for previous seasons as well. Takets in chat, he might be able to tell us more about that. But yeah, he makes maps, so maybe he's going to have a slight advantage when it comes to understanding maps and, well, reading them and knowing how to play them and so forth. Now, speaking of the maps, so as you can see from the draft, this round was played in round 4, which is the last one for the first sprint. There's going to be a 1-week break between the 2 sprints, and then we'll start with sprint 2. Map for game 1 is going to be Lagoon Forest, whereas the second map is going to be Shattered Plains, which I think I still haven't casted, and I don't think I've seen it being casted by Tech either. So this might be a first view for many people watching us. Now, speaking of civs, as always, we have 5 admin bans, which are chosen randomly. And as you can see, Vikings, Bengalis, Sicilians, Saracens, and Aztecs were banned. PlushWerewolf went on to ban Bohemians and Turks, whereas Jasouki banned Georgians and Koreans. Mongol Snipe for PlushWerewolf, and then Breton Snipe for Jasouki, which is interesting. We've actually seen Britons quite a bit in this season of the tournament, but I think I've seen them always lose. So that's an interesting ban. Also, Britons, they're not really generally considered a scary civ nowadays, despite the fact that they are a strong civ. So, I mean, that's an interesting snipe for me, especially when there were Japanese, Huns, and Byzantines chosen by PlushWerewolf. Speaking of which, those are the 3 civs that he was left with, and Jasouki was left with Cumans, Vietnamese, and Berbers. So pretty strong draft from both players. Maybe I slightly prefer Jasouki's. As much as I like Huns and Byzantines, I think having Vietnamese, Berbers, and Cumans is a pretty strong one. Although looking at maps, humans are going to be insane on both maps because of the booming potential they have. And both maps, I mean, Shattered Plains, you have stone walls. Lagoon Forest is the walls, so on both maps, players should be quite safe. Rather, aside from that, Vietnamese and Berbers, I'm not too convinced now that I think about it for these two maps. That said, I like Byzantines on these two maps. I'm not a fan of Hans and Japanese. I mean, Japanese could make an argument on Lagoon Forest because of the potential for fish booming, but that comes into play quite later on into the game compared to other maps, so I don't know. Anyway, let's leave my considerations aside and let's jump into the games, shall we? Yeah, let me change scene. And okay, here we are. So Jasouki in the yellow against PlushWerewolf in the green. Jasouki chose humans here, whereas PlushWerewolf chose Byzantines. Okay. So Jasouki is not using the humans for the arena style map. He's using them for this one. And actually, so humans do not get stone walls, but they do have 18 bonus, which makes their palisade walls have 20, I think it's 25% more HP. So they should be able to keep out any feudal pressure just with their palisades and boom behind with 2 TCs if they want. Or, and we'll see if that's Jasouki's plan, they could be going aggressive themselves in Feudal Age because they do get access to a Siege Workshop in Feudal Age. They can only make rams out of it in Feudal, but still, you have rams in Feudal, so even if your opponent is walling, you can get through that. Or you could go for a 2TC boom in Feudal Age, and then as you get to Castle, you still make that Siege Workshop, you still make those rams, but then you have access to the Capped Ram upgrade in Castle Age, whereas out of the saves they have to wait for Imperial. And Capped Ram are an insane upgrade from the normal Battering Ram because of the area of effect damage they have, which is nice to take down walls. Otherwise, with Battering Rams, you have to take down a single piece of stone wall, then you move to the other, so on and so forth. Yeah, Capped Rams are just better at that. Oh, you're saving Oladushik against Ray for me. Okay. I wasn't initially planning to cast that. I was planning on casting that today, but I figured I've already casted both Oladushik and Ray, so I just wanted to try and variate a little bit between the players I'm casting. I think I'll be, unless you want to cast that, I think I'm going to keep that set for the next session that I'm going to have. Okay, so back to my point. Yes, you could do that with the humans, do the Capped Ram and everything, but Byzantines, they are one of the best defensive civs in the game because they have extra HP on their buildings. As you can see, 2640, and it's just 2400 for Jasouki. And that bonus increases as you progress through the ages. So they just get better and better at being defensive, and that applies to their stone walls, that applies to their normal buildings. They're just insane all over. And they also have a cheaper Imperial Age upgrade, so it's easier for them once they get pressured in castle. Let's say if they get castle drop, it's easier for them to to race to Imperial, get there before their opponent, and have traps out before their opponent does. Not to mention they have a pretty open monastery tech tree. They're only missing herbal medicine, which is in such situations is not ideal because it's an insane tech if you make good of use of it. But aside from that, as far as monk defense goes, they have everything they need. They have redemption, they have sanctity, they have block printing, they have illumination. Everything is there. So, and atonement as well to defend from enemy monks. And as you can see, their university is pretty open as well. They're missing architecture and in masonry, but that's because they have that in their save bonus, basically. But they have everything else. They have bombard towers, they have keeps, they have fortified walls, so yeah, they're insane. Okay, humans are up to feudal. So 18 villagers, 9 seconds of idle TC time. With them, I mean, it's good, right? For a 11/1200 player, this is a good build. He's now going to... Yeah, he's now building the palisades. Okay, and the TC is going to come down. So yeah, this is going to be a boom. A booming play from Jasouki. Yeah, I agree that this map suits Byzantines because, as you mentioned, it's quite close. So you can do your stuff as Byzantines. You can basically turtle up and just eventually get to that late Imperial where they shine because of their options and their cheap units. And another reason I like Byzantines is because of this water. So now, Tech, I don't remember if you were here the last time we casted, but Nope did something amazing on this, playing as Armenians. He was cutting the trees with the onagers, he built docks, and he was making dromons. So he would cut the trees with the onagers and just go around with dromons and take down his opponent's buildings, because all of these bodies of water on the map are connected. And Byzantines, they have amazing dromons. They have access to onagers, so they can cut through. And yeah, he could be doing that if he wanted to, as Byzantines. Now, is he going to do that? I don't know, but we'll see. Speaking of which, Byzantines, their dromons, they do miss siege engineers, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so they lack 1%, not 1%, they lack 1 range, and they will end up dealing less bonus damage against buildings, but they do attack faster. So the old Byzantine bonus, which made just their fire ships attack faster, now applies to the dromons as well. So yeah, they're lacking a little bit in range and bonus damage, but they make up for that with attack speed, which I guess makes them slightly worse at taking on buildings in the long run, but it makes them better in naval combat. So if you use them as a anti-ship, if you will. Okay, so Jasouki just doing human things, booming away. PlushWerewolf, his build doesn't seem like a... Okay, no, it's a fast castle. Maybe he messed it up a little bit, because you should normally go... What is it? 24 plus 2 villagers. He's now on 29. So unless... So he either made some slight mistake, or he's thinking, okay, my opponent is booming. Let's go for a slightly later castle age and maybe turn this into a fast Imperial. Because he's not on gold. Okay, yeah, he's going on stone now. So we're probably going to see a castle on one of the openings, or sorry, one of the passages, because it's not really open here. And this is probably going to be some kind of fast Imperial play from PlushWerewolf behind that. I mean, it kind of makes sense to build around the mill, because I saw he had a lot of villagers on berries. So if you're taking vills from the berries to build farms, it is slightly faster to build them on the mill instead of going back to the TC. It's something you actually see a lot of on Arena, of people tending to do that because of how safe you are. So maybe that's his thinking. Because you're pretty safe because of the walling, right? So you do not really need that extra protection from the TC for your farms in this situation. Okay, so PlushWerewolf up to castle. Okay, no, it's going to be a second TC. Okay, we're still going to be seeing a castle drop, I think. Otherwise, he wouldn't have these many vills on stone. He's now sending more to gold, so maybe it's not a fast imp play. He just wanted to get to castle with a better eco to have some more oomph behind his push. Yeah, he's about to have this stone for a castle. So this is probably going to be a castle. I mean, a castle, yeah, there it is. And then if we see a monastery behind that, then it's probably going to be that, right? Just a castle into monk and siege push. The wood is nice for that. He has the wood to make both a monastery and a siege workshop for the time being. He's going to be on 2 TCs, so he's going to be able to get the gold and the wood needed. He's on 10 farms, now 11. Yeah, he needs about 12 to sustain 2 TC production. He's getting there. He still has some food in the bank, so this should be fine. Jasouki. Okay, so he's up to castle. He has 2 stables. He's getting bloodlines and the first armor, so this is going to be military from Jasouki. And Jasouki, yeah, he knew about the castle before it went up because of the vision on the palisades. He's mining the stone himself, so if he can, he needs to hold this until his own castle comes up. And then it becomes a race to Imperial. And sure, you're against Byzantines, who have the cheaper Imperial upgrade. But you are Cumans, so you're playing this on Cuman Eco. Right, he's ahead by 14 vills. He should have the eco to actually click up to Imperial. But now there are cataphracts coming in. Okay. So Tech calling it that PlushWerewolf likes unique unit and monks. This is interesting. I mean, as much as I like cataphracts, they are kind of a weird choice for a siege unique unit push. You normally would see something like organ guns, Arambai, conquistadors. I don't like that castle. I would have liked it here. Then again, I know that PlushWerewolf is on 2 TCs, so his Imperial time is not going to be as fast as it could be. Jasouki doesn't know that. He might be thinking, okay, my opponent is probably up to imp behind this. Let me put down the castle here so it's not within trap range. He's now going to make in step lancers. Cataphracts. with enough numbers, I think they should be able to win the fight against the Step Lancers. But Jasouki is going to have the eco to make more. And PlushWerewolf is missing all upgrades. Okay, if you're PlushWerewolf, I think the moment you see this amount of units, this amount of Step Lancers especially, you maybe start stonewalling behind your palisades. Because Step Lancers are going to be able to get through this very quickly. Right, the moment they start hitting the wall, they're basically already in. I heard a dog. Yeah, it was from Jasouki, who is making fishing ships. Okay, getting that extra gold. And behind this, PlushWerewolf, quite the nice eco. He's still behind in bills, but that's always going to happen against humans. He is on 3 TCs though, and humans still haven't dropped the second one, so he might be able to catch up to him. And the moment they both click to Imperial, he's going to have the advantage, because then Jasouki will have just 1 TC making villagers, whereas PlushWerewolf will have 2. So they might be able to get to Imperial with the same amount of units. Okay, Jasouki, he deleted these walls, so... Oh, okay, we have cataphracts here. Getting in from the back. Getting 2 veil kills. That one is going to survive. And now they just run away. I mean, yeah, PlushWerewolf could be a little bit more aggressive, but at the same time, he knows. He already knew about the amount of Step Lancers, so with just 1 castle making cataphracts, if he goes in, he just dies. He's switching to pikes. I'm not a fan of that. I'd rather see camels because of how cheap they are for Byzantines. Okay, he's going for a second castle. If he pre-walls this, right, with a house here and maybe a stone gate here, he should be able to get it up. It also depends on how many vills he's sending. 8 vills could be enough. I don't think Jasouki... No, Jasouki should know. Yeah, he knows about that. Hey, Otter. Welcome. Yeah, I will get to your sets. Don't worry. It's just that I think I've already casted you this season, and aside from PlushWerewolf, I haven't casted any of the guys I'm casting today. So I just wanted to variate a little bit. But yeah, unless they get casted by the next time I'm live, I think I'll be doing one of your sets and Ray against Oldushuk next time. Okay, so Jasouki was trying... He's trying to get the castle down with rams. It is not going to work. Not against a Byzantine castle, when Byzantines are also making pikes. And PlushWerewolf, he's about to have the rest for Imperial, being Byzantines. And if he gets to Imperial, he can make traps from 2 castles. He can wall the castles up with stone walls here and here, just to keep the traps safe. Okay, we have kept Ram. I don't think it's still going to be enough. Not when there are pikes and cataphracts protecting the castle. Okay, I said Plush was about to... Okay. Okay, I missed this. So, as I predicted, the Step Lancers got in pretty fast in here because of the Palisades. And here. And they're just raiding like there's no tomorrow. TC is not going to get denied. But the eco difference is just going to become bigger and bigger. And this just sideloads your entire eco. And Jasouki, if he abuses the market a little bit, he could be up to Imperial himself. Step Lancers, they do not cost that much gold. I think it's 40 gold a piece. Something like that. So he doesn't need that much to keep up production. Whereas Cataphracts, I forget the exact amount of gold they require, but I think it's around the same as a knight. They're quite expensive, so... Okay, Captain Ram's coming forward. PlushWerewolf is a little bit distracted by the Step Lancers, so these... Yeah, he doesn't notice this. And the castle is going to go down because he doesn't realize. Okay, now he realizes. Okay, good. But now you need to send some bills forward to repair that. Okay, we have a dock as well from PlushWerewolf. And okay, no, the castle is going to go down. Yeah, that's clever, making the stone wall behind the house, because otherwise the Step Lancers will be able to just take it down very fast. I mean, there's still Captrams, and there are no mangonels behind this for PlushWerewolf to defend. And we have Imperial for humans. So PlushWerewolf is on 4 TCs, so his eco is going to be fine. The issue is he kind of lost the momentum because he's not applying pressure at the moment. His opponent has still a better eco, and he's going to be up to Imperial faster. Yeah, Capdram's just going to be able to get through quite quickly. Yeah, Othrin in chat is right. Plush tried to do too much with the 2 castles and TCs behind it. I mean, it could have been fine if it was just castles and TCs and he hadn't made the cataphracts, right? Or if he had, let's say, monks and siege behind that. Because then you have more power to your push. And even if you stay longer in Castle Age, you're still doing damage because you have siege and you have monks. Which is something that, you know, cataphracts cannot do. They cannot take down buildings as easily. They cannot... I mean, I guess they can take fights against the Step Lancers in equal numbers. And I guess with, you know, with a triple stable production, Jasouki can just ignore the monks and give his opponent some units because he's going to be outproducing him anyway. But yeah, now he's an Imperial. He's going to have 2 castle production for his trebs. He's getting Elite Step Lancer. Okay, he's adding archer ranges. I know he got the step husbandry tech earlier. So his step lancers, his cavalry archers, and his scout line are going to be producing, I think it's 80% faster, something like that. And he's probably going to add eventually some cavalry archers behind this to kill the pikes, because he knows his opponent is on that. But the thing is, in choke points like this, I think step lancers can still take a decent engagement against the pikes. And now we have capped rams coming forward. We have Imperial from PlushWerewolf, and if he was any other civ, I will be thinking, okay, he's 100% dead. But he's Byzantines. Byzantines, the way you can spam units with this civ is insane. I think they still have comeback potential in this situation. That said, step lancers are insane. Yeah, and PlushWerewolves just calls it. Okay, so game 1 goes to Jasouki, who is in chat, by the way. Hello, Jasouki. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so statistics. I mean, yeah, more military for Jasouki. More economy for him, but that's expected by humans. Okay, so as we were mentioning earlier, I think, yeah, just not committing to something is what killed PlushWerewolf, because the idea of going aggressive against humans is nice, right? You don't want to give them just a free boom. But yeah, he wasn't aggressive enough. Also, once again, I don't think when you're going for a unique unit push, I don't think artifacts are the choice here. Unless your opponent is, I don't know, gods or minions. The pikeman choice, I mean, I think it's okay. I still rather use camels from the Byzantines, especially if you're up against the step lancers. Or yeah, as Tech is mentioning, just as Byzantines, you just wall up, you make stone walls, you make mangonels behind that, and you just boom to Imperial. So you make it so that you get to a point where the human boom is no longer a factor because you're fully boomed as well, and you end up having just the better units. So that was also an option for PlushWerewolf. Jasouki, he played it nicely, so he stayed on 2 CCs for most of castle because he knew he needed units to defend from the push. He made 2 nice castles here defensively. Again, I think the first one here would have been better, but again, he didn't know his opponent was adding TCs, right? He might have thought he was going fast imp, and he didn't want his castle to just get trapped down. So these 2 castles, they do make sense. They're the safe approach, which is generally speaking a better approach overall. And then he expanded his economy behind this. So yeah, well played to Jasouki. Let's move on to game 2. Let me load it up real quick. Which is going to be on Shattered Plains, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. Okay, so Shatter Plains, this is the first time I cast this, if I'm not mistaken. So let's talk a bit about the map. As you can see, it is kind of arena-like, but you do have a smaller base compared to arena, and you do not have the huge wood lines in the back or on the sides of your base. You have these 3 wood lines, which are part of your walls. As you can see here, PlushWerewolf got two wood lines together for a big one. Yeah, because this one should be around the same size as this one. No, actually, I think he's got less wood in his base. Anyway, as I was saying, compared to arena, this is more open. You do not have the ring of wood lines on all around the map. You do have more resources spread around the middle. As you can see, there's a lot more gold and stone. There is some fish, which, I mean, by the point of the game where you get out here, I don't think it's going to be that much of a game changer. Same with the berries. But it's there. And then, as you can see, the relics are all in the middle, like in this middle area here. And then you have a couple on the sides. So overall, the relic generation is a little bit more fair than it's a little bit fairer than the one you get in arena, because sometimes on arena you have 5 relics and 3 are just outside of one player's wall, 1 is in the middle, and 1 is outside the other player's wall. So yeah, having all of the relics in the middle, a much better situation. Aside from that, you do have standard resources, right? So some of your ship, they spawn outside. So you do need to be careful not to get them lamed, and PlushWerewolf might be able to get those. Yeah, Jasouki doesn't know about that. He's just pushing deer, so he might be giving his opponent some extra food. But yeah, that's the map overall. So let's talk about civs. We have Berbers for Jasouki here in the yellow. And then we have Huns for PlushWerewolf here in the green. So let me go back a moment to the draft. Okay, so Jasouki picked Berbers after his opponent picked Huns. So this might have been some kind of counter pick to Huns. Maybe he expected his opponent to go Huns on this one. I'm not sure why you would expect Huns on this one, but still. So as Author is mentioning in chat, these 2 picks seem a little bit wild, but if you think about it, this, compared to Arena, is way more open. Most of the times people will be dropping TCs on the outside, or at least on the woodlines, so you are exposed. So going for units for map control in Castle Age seems... I mean, you still do that on Arena, don't get me wrong. You do go units for map control in Castle Age to get the relics and whatnot. But I think we'll see people invest a lot more into that on this map, due to the amount of resources you have in the middle and due to the fact that you play this on standard victory. So on Arena, let's say you get 0 relics on standard Arena. It feels bad because you're not going to have as much gold as your opponent, but that's still not a winning condition. It is here. So maybe they want to invest more into army to get those relics and the map control. And Huns, I mean, I personally like them on Arena. I know they're not a top tier Civ, but I do like them. And I especially don't mind them on this one. I mean, the one time I played this map, I had them in my draft. I didn't go for them, but I still thought, well, maybe they could work. Because you have a nice eco because you're not building houses. It's also especially nice on such a small map. Sorry, such a small base. You then have your stables which work faster. So you could even justify going up to castle a little bit slower than your opponent, because you're still going to catch up with scout numbers, but you're going to have a slightly better eco. And then you can just switch to cavalry archers, because your opponent is going to be on the outside with TCs or on the wood line, so you can just be annoying with those. Or you could even go crazy and go for something like fast castle Tarkans and just burn down your opponent's base. I mean, sometimes you see that work on Arena. And PlushWerewolf found the sheep. I mean, it is a win con on Standard Arena as well, depending on the situation and how people approach it. Because if you give up, you could on Standard Arena just give up the relic fight to have a faster boom, and then you push faster. And so yes, your opponent has 5 relics, but you have like 10, 15 vills more. So that kind of equalizes, and if you have the proper save, you can just do a very strong push and kill him. Which arguably could be said for this map as well. So yeah, it doesn't make that much of a difference, if you will. If anything, I would say that here having that countdown puts a lot more pressure on you. Okay, so Jasouki, okay, he's going for a castle. I do not think this is going to be a castle drop, because there's a lot of distance to walk. It's going to be awkward because you have this uneven terrain in the front of your base. So you would have to maybe walk around a little bit. You would have to drop it here, maybe here, and you're not really denying any resources. Jasouki also should not, yeah, he knows about the wilderness, so he knows he cannot drop it here. It's either here or here. And sure, he doesn't know he's not going to be denying any resources. Maybe you could deny some of that gold if you drop it here, but that's not really going to happen. So I think this is going to be a castle at home. And then you use your camel archers for map control, as you would on, say, Fortress. Sometimes you see that. He's not adding the second TC for the time being, nor the monastery. Okay, we do have a monastery. Okay, so Plush is going for one of my favorites. CA on Arena. Yeah, I love doing this. People never expect it. Although I tend to do it with Celts, not with Huns, so slightly different approach, probably better for Huns. That's a very defensive castle. I guess he doesn't want his opponent to see that. Yeah, as I was saying at the start, CA are going to be quite good on this because of how open it is. And I think if you sit here with Botkin, you could maybe range the wood lines. Definitely from here. You could range these fields. Okay, we do have monks for the relics, which makes sense. Both players about to be on 2 TCs. PlushWerewolf already has it. Jasouki, he had to build a castle, so he just waited a bit because he needed the stone for that. And we do have camel archers with no upgrades still. So by the time these camel archers are going to be able to do anything against the CA, I think PlushWerewolf will have at least 2 to 3 relics. That scout's going to go down without being able to kill that monk. Yeah, the new skin is pretty weird for the monks. Yeah. I mean, there could also be the whole conversation about how they just took the whole idea of shamanism and said, oh well, they're all shamanistic religions, so that means some shamanistic religious traditions, so they just all look the same, right? It's a little bit more complicated than that, but sure, let's not get into that. And let's just try and appreciate the fact that they're just variating. Also, never mind that this looks like a shaman and he's called a monk, but let's not talk about that. Anyway, let's talk about the game. Well, like the action in the game, not the visual effects. So we do have 5 camel archers from Jasouki, who is still sitting in his castle. He still has no upgrades on his units, and he knows the relics are disappearing from the map. And yeah, I believe PlushWerewolf will be able to get all of them behind this. There are no relics left on the map. Jasouki got none, so yeah, this is going to be 5 relics for PlushWerewolf. He's going to be ahead in villagers as well. He's going to be ahead in units. And honestly, he could even consider at this point just coming forward with a build, dropping a siege workshop, and starting to apply that pressure. And I honestly would like to see that, because sometimes when you see people get the relic countdown and then lose, it's because they got that countdown going and they just sat there. But because they invested so much into the relics, their opponent is going to be ahead in military and villagers, which, I mean, is not the case in this game, but it sometimes happens. And then because they have no units, they just lose control of the relics. So what I like to see is for players to get the relics and then be aggressive. So their opponent cannot just go and address the monastery. They have to address the push as well. And that puts double the pressure on them, if you will. Alright, there's no timer. Were they playing this on Conquest? Okay, I'm sorry, I will have to tab out one more time because I have to check in game. No, it's standard, so maybe he hasn't brought one in. Oh yeah, there's one missing. Yeah, there are 6. Okay, there's going to be a castle. Ooh, I want to see Tarkans. Targans against camel archers should be nice. I mean, Berbers can just easily switch into camels if you go for Targans, but still, I like to see that. I mean, we're not. He's going into skirmishers to counter the camel archers, which is a lot more sensible solution. Jasouki apparently forgot about the relic victory. That is the standard Alchemy League experience. You forget about the relic victory and you get defeated by it. And then for your next rounds, you're going to be super... oh god, what's the word? I got a lapsus. Super paranoid about that. Oh, nice. Fight for who? I don't know. Yeah, this is better for the Han player. He is missing Botkin arrows, but he has more units, so... And it's cheaper for him to replenish his army. Ballistics coming in, which is missing for Jasouki, so this should make it better for him. I mean, makes it better for PlushWerewolf, not for Jasouki. We have more orders. Ooh, so we're going that way. Just... Okay, Plush, please... If you get to Imperial, please do not research atheism. That's going to be detrimental to yourself. If I'm not mistaken, because I think the effect applies to both players, not just the enemy. So, eco-wise, players quite close. I mean, Plush is ahead, but that's because his opponent is on 2 TCs, whereas he's on 3. Wait, you mean it doesn't... By the relic effect, you mean the gold trickle or the timer? Because atheism affects both of them. But I still don't know if it affects your opponents or if it affects every player. Oh, it doesn't have the income. Okay. Okay, yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, I mean, the timer, I still don't know, because the way the tech is worded, if I'm not mistaken, it says that relic victories take more time or stuff like that. The gold reducing effect was introduced, I think it was last year, maybe 2 years ago, something like that. So, yeah, I will have to check that one. The wiki should be able to tell you what the right answer is. Okay, we have a decent amount of skirmishers now for PlushWerewolf, who is getting his new units killed by the camel archers. We do have Imperial for Jasouki, and I think here Jasouki needs a switch. The moment you see... I mean, I don't think he saw that amount of skirmishers. Right? Yeah. Wait, no, I'm not in... Of course, he knows about his own skirmishers. Okay, he knows about the castle. He should know about the skirmishers as well, then. I think here you switch to... I mean, you would want to switch to hussars, but you do not really have the eco for that. triple castle here in the middle for Jasouki. Okay, we're going for the kill. So his answer to not having the eco for Hafsar is, okay, let me just make more camel archers so I do not have to care about your skirmishers. Which is not going to happen because you also have mangonels for PlushWerewolf. And this is what I meant. You want to have some pressure as well with the relics. So now Jasouki cannot ignore this and go for the relics. He has to address this. And then he will have, in a second moment, have to address the relics. Unless he had something like 20 knights, maybe send them in, they might be able to take down the monastery, but it's unlikely. And now you have a combo of Tarkans, skirmishers, and mangonels. Just raiding his opponent's base. And I think it's quite safe to say that the way things are going, PlushWerewolf is going to take this game. He's up to Imperial as well. He has quite a decent eco advantage. He has 70 years left for the victory. Now Jasouki is making traps. So he might be thinking, let's try and snipe that monastery. But in order to do that, you would have to sit... Maybe from here you can range them, but I think it's more likely that you have to sit here, underneath the castle range. And he's still getting pressured at home. I mean, he's losing all of his eco to mangonels, skirmishers, and Tarkans. Okay, the tribes are rolling forward. I mean, it's just 3 traps, right? So, yeah, Plush can just take them down with villagers. He could even queue some Tarkans. Yeah, he will. And kill them with those. Yeah, and Jasouki just calls the GG. So PlushWerewolf takes the second game. Ending the set 1-1. And well played to both. I think Jasouki, he forgot about the relics, the relic victory, which is weird because I thought the camel archers were to contest the relics, but he just didn't use them. And so if you're not going to use them to contest the relics, then it doesn't make sense to make a castle that early in Castle Age, right? You could just instead go for T-Siege if you're getting up on the relics, and then you get the castle, you get the camel archers, and maybe you go for a faster imp, and you start pushing with camel archers and tribes on your opponent's face. So I'm not too sure about the strategy choice there. PlushWerewolf, on the other hand, he knew the map, he knew what needed to be done. He picked a civ he thought was good for that, and indeed it was. And he got rewarded by that. I also like how he walled on the side, just to ensure this eco was safe. Later on, he would have a safe space to make more farms if he wanted to. He's also walling this, which is nice because he realized he had overchopped. Jasouki, I wouldn't say bad, I would say you felt undecisive. And that just snowballed in giving your opponent too much advantage, basically. He got hold of the relics, he got map control. I mean, the triple castle here is nice. If you were up against anything but, you know, the Han spam. And that amount of skirmishers. Maybe, I mean, if you were expecting not camel archers, you have camel archers, cavalry archers, I know it might sound dumb, but maybe open janitors instead of the camel archers. It's easier on your eco, right? Because you do not need the stone for the castle. Yeah, I can see that reacting to relics is stressful. That's something we see a lot in this tournament, and something that I have struggled myself in different sets. So that's completely understandable. Yeah, almost 3k gold just for the relics. That's always nice to have. Okay, so that was our first set. Let me go back to the drafting table. And we will get it on with our second one. So this one is done. Okay, so for the next one, we have Wisenatic against e1stea, or as we used to call him before Author pointed it out, e1stea. And both of these players, yeah, they're both from Germany. Wisenatic is around 2k2, with the highest of almost 2k3, so pretty good player. And e1stea is slightly behind in elo. He's behind by about 200, which I believe still doesn't qualify for having a handicap in this matchup, but he's definitely going to be the underdog here. Both players have played with us in previous seasons of the league. I don't think all of them, but a lot of them. So yeah, those are the players. Let's take a look at the drafts. So Shimmerpool is going to be the map for game 1, which tells us this was played on round 3, in round 3. And the second map is going to be Confluence. Now, civ-wise, Malians, Sicilians, Teutons, Hindustanis, and Malay banned by the randomizer. Wisenatic went on to ban Byzantines and Japanese and snipe Italians. e1stea banned Georgians and Armenians, so we know he hates the mule card, and sniped Persians. That left Wisenatic with Mongols, Portuguese, and Vikings. Pretty strong draft. And e1stea with Dravidians, Lithuanians, and Bengalis. Another strong draft. So, yeah, I like what both players have in this situation, considering the two maps we're going to be seeing. So, let me load up the first game real quick. Where is it? e1stea versus Wisenatic. Here it is. Okay. So, we have Mongols for Wisenatic here in the blue against Lithuanians for e1stea here in the yellow. And I think this is going to hurt e1stea. So this map can have different generations. As you can see, the one where you have snow, the water in the middle is frozen, so there's no fish. I mean, aside from the shore fish. Now, e1stea is going for the Lithuanian start, where you put 4 villagers on wood straight away, which is something you see on hybrid maps, because that allows you to go straight for the dock. And because you start with extra food with Lithuanians, you can sustain villagers production. The thing is, you do not want a hybrid build on this version of the map, because there's no fish. So, I don't know if I mean, maybe I know nothing and he just does this with Lithuanians in any situation, be it a hybrid map or not. But it's still, I'm not a fan of this. Mongols, yeah, they're going to wood now. Yeah, I think you can still dock on this. But I don't think ships can go on this ice. I might be mistaken, but I don't think you can. I mean, you can, even if they can, yes, you dock this. But what, take some shorefish and have some slight map control? I mean, this map control is not going to come into play until the late game, so going for it here in feudal, in Dark Age, I do not really like that. Yeah, you can walk over this. Of that, I'm sure. Because I got the same generation when I played this map in round 3. Wait, maybe it was round 2. No, because round 2 was 2 gang. So, no. This was round 3. Yeah, this was round 3. Oh, but I did get the ice in round 1. So, yeah, sorry, I'm just having back memories of my game. So, e1stea is adding the fishing ship. Yeah, he's going to check if his opponent docked, but I mean, maybe he's going to dock now. Okay, no, he's going for the mill instead. I mean, what, you go for a mill for 1 shorefish? Yeah, no, he's reconsidering. Okay, no, he's going for the dock. Okay. So they still want to fish. Alright. I mean, they are the 2k plus players, so what do I know? I mean, Wisenatic being Mongols and having that amazing hunting bonus, yeah, he's up to feudal already. I mean, so will e1stea, right? He just needs to finish loom, drop off some food, and he's going to be up. Did Wisenatic get loom at all? No, he didn't. Okay. Okay, 2 on gold, so yeah, this might be fires as well for... No, sorry, 3 on gold. Yeah, we have no veils on gold for e1stea, so maybe he's not going to be making warships. He's just going to be happy with the extra food he got thanks to the fishing ships, and maybe go for land pressure. We'll see. If we see a barracks in the next couple of seconds, then maybe it's land pressure. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to be at least 1 fire. Okay, now he's going to gold. Okay, it's going to be fires. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Otto, I can see that, but when you have this part of the map frozen, you're suddenly a lot closer than you normally would, right? Because otherwise you would have to go all the way around for land pressure, whereas now you can just go through the middle. So, I don't know, in my head it's just going for land pressure instead. Okay, no, he was not going to gold, okay. In my head it's more worth to go for the land pressure here instead of going for the navy. And yeah, e1stea is just going to make 1. He also deleted the second dock. He's going to make 1 and he's going to go straight into land military. No, I think neither player could see there was no deep fish. I mean, if you know about the map, you should know that when you have this, you do not have fish in the middle. And yeah, ships are not going to go on this one, so I guess you cannot sail on this. Yeah, otherwise the ship would not be going this way. It would just go straight. Yeah, you cannot sail on this. Okay, is Wisenatic switching? Yeah, he switched to land as well. And he actually might be going fast castle behind this. Ooh. Demo coming out. He could be able to take down these ships with a single demo if he wants to. And if he goes fast castle behind this with lancers, it could be a little bit annoying for the Lithuanians. Especially because e1stea is quite far away from Castle Age himself. Also, if you do play this map and you see some rhinoceros around here, right, on the sides of the map, they're not huntable. They're just reskins of these wild horses and camels. You do not get food from them. I know, because in my game I tried going for them and I then realized, oh wait, they're not food. Otte, translate. Is he asking about the percentage of, the chances of fish spawning? Did we miss the demo? I think we did, sorry.
Yes.
Okay, so Wisenatic winning the water battle, but for very little food left. I mean, he lost the fishing ships as well. Okay, yeah. So maybe Wisenatic, he knew about the lack of fish, but still went for it because of the, the extra food it would give him. Even if just by a little bit. And he's almost castle. e1stea is... Okay, he hasn't clicked up behind this. He's still deep into feudal. He's going to come forward with some skirmishers and a couple of spears, but... I mean, this army... Villagers could just scare them away and just shank them if they wanted to. Okay, so according to the conversation, they didn't know. Both of them didn't know. Okay. I mean, that's the beauty of Alchemy League. Every set is a learning experience. Oh, and e1stea just caused the GG. Yeah, he knows he's way behind. I mean, he does have the eco advantage. Yeah, but you're going to have to deal with step lancers, which nobody likes to have to do that. I mean, he could maybe try stone walling up, but still, this map, it's not easy. And even then, it's very open. I mean, the wood lines are going to be a pain to wall. This is pretty open. And the moment Mongols see a single stone wall, they just send a will forward, make a siege workshop behind that, and just go YOLO with siege and step lancers. So yeah. Yeah, I agree, Skirms. What's the wrong opening? If those were scouts, you maybe get a couple of them here on the woodline, you do some damage. You're still behind, you're still going to be later to Castle Age, I think, because you're against Mongols. But at least you do some damage. And that gives you a footing to do something going forward. But yeah. Here the skirms, I mean, they still haven't done any damage. Yeah, I guess he was expecting archers from the Mongols after the fires, which could make sense because fires are quite gold intensive, so you will have more villagers on gold, so it feels more natural to go into archers, but yeah, just open scouts, because as long as there aren't too many archers, you can still deal with them with the scouts. And if you see scouts, then yeah, you maybe drop the archer range and you counter them with skirms. Scouts, you just get here. Maybe you do some damage. At least you get some information on what your opponent is doing. Yeah, I agree that these skirms were not ideal as an opening. But again, we saw he didn't know too much about the map, so maybe he was also a little bit, I wouldn't say tilted, but not happy about the way things went, and just called it. Anyway, let's take a look at the statistics, and then we move to the second game. Oh, no, before we do that, let's look at the statistics, and then we'll try and catch the demo moment, because that's also always nice to see. Okay, so demo. So it's around here. That's satisfying. Okay, we can move on now. That was the important part. And let's go game 2. Which is going to be on Confluence. Okay. Arthur, I knew you would be happy about the demo shot. Anyway, Confluence. So it kind of looks, in a way, like Rivers. But you do have a third section, which is like neutral, with some resources. There isn't that much gold and stone here. That it's mostly wood and relics. And most of the fights are going to be on the water. At least at the start of the game. Now, that said, because of how close you start, I think you could see this one as more of a hybrid map than a pure water map, because let's say you go for a hybrid build, and so yes, you have your dock by the time you get to feudal, but you also have your barracks up, and then you have your stable or archer range or whatever. You're so close that if you distract your opponent's ships for like 2 seconds, your units can get to the other side of the river and then wreak havoc on your opponent's base. So that's something to keep in mind. Civs wise, we have Portuguese for Wisenatic here in the blue. Pretty nice, especially for the fire wars, because they have accuracy on their ships. So as long as they have equal numbers to their opponent, they will always win that. The fire ships are, well, not just the fire ships, all units costing gold are actually cheaper on that end, 20% cheaper. So that's another nice thing to keep in mind. Dravidians, on the other hand, they get 200 extra wood when they get to the next stage, and their docks provide 5 population space. And well, the fishing ships and fishermen just carry more food, which could be nice here because the fish, you do have deep fish, but it's quite scarcer than the one you would find on islands. Yeah, we're going to be seeing a dock now for the Dravinians. He sent 2 vills. Oh, he actually made the house. I was about to say he sent 2 vills, so the dock goes up in time to support the population. But no, he just made a preemptive house. 3 villagers on wood, that's not going to be enough to keep up production. Wisenatic with 5. That is the amount you want. Unless you're Italians or Vikings, I suppose. Or Persians, because you start with extra wood. Oh yeah, score. So one thing about this map is that you do have deers, but as you can see, they spawn in couples, and they're quite far away from your TC, and because they spawn in the middle of the woodlines, it is a little annoying to push them. And as we can see, neither player tried to go for that. Ooh, ooh, ooh. This is going to be a veil kill, yes. I mean, Wisenatic is going to... Ooh, he doesn't lose the scout. Okay, yes, he does. Yeah, I think Loom was not in. Yeah, it's still not in for e1stea. It is for Wisenatic. Okay, he now realizes he might lose that veil as well. Yeah, that's 3 veils down for e1stea. Oof. Wisenatic lost 0. He lost the scout. Yeah, that's not... That doesn't feel good if you're e1stea. I think Wisenatic had his scout forward, realized there was no loom on the villagers, but he saw there were 2 of them. So maybe he didn't attack with the scout. He just waited for the veil to go there and just started veil fighting. Yeah, it did work great. I mean, in this case, being the aggressor, you tend to have the hill advantage, right? So generally speaking, 2 villagers with loom should win against a scout and a villager with loom. But I think if you have the hill advantage, even if the 2 villagers were loom, then you deal extra damage, so you should be winning that. Both players up to feudal. e1stea is actually faster, so he should be able to win the... Should be able to win the fire war. Yeah, double dock from both of them. So you can wall here, as you see, Wisenatic did that. Although I think players would rather wall right here, right? Because otherwise your walls can just be taken down by the fires. e1stea might be able to... Okay, no. More villagers come. Oh yeah, you could wall in the veils. I think e1stea was too confident on the fact that he had 2 veils, and so his opponent wouldn't dare trying to attack with the scout. And he just didn't think his opponent would send forward the veil. And maybe he was distracted, maybe he was taking the boar and didn't notice straight away. Okay, we have triple dock from both players. Okay, that's going to be easier for e1stea to keep up the production because of the 200 free wood he got as soon as he got to feudal. That said, we have well, no, it's 5 villagers more for Wisenatic because of the kills and the idle TC. I mean, 2 villagers, it's overall more efficient. Fish is still one of the fastest food income. It's actually the fastest, if I'm not mistaken, with villagers. I guess you want 2 with Dravidians because then you build your dock faster. And so you could potentially skip your 3rd house and have your dock be the 3rd house instead. And if you're this close, then yeah, you might be expecting your opponent to be lurking around with the scouts, so you do not want to risk having that villager killed, because yeah, you can wall it in, but then maybe your opponent is there by the time you're going to build the first dock, and so he doesn't even let you get to the shoreline, and that's why you send 2. I don't know, I agree that 1 vill walled in works just fine, but I can see why people would want to go for 2. Oh yeah, but what I'm saying is that the scout intercepts you as you're going to the dock, as you're going to the shoreline, sorry. So you do not even get to drop down the dock or drop down the walls. The scout just catches you when your build is, for example, here. And so that's why you send 2, because then they cannot do that. Yeah, I know it's 3 tiles from the TC, but that's specific for this map. And maybe e1stea is just applying what he learned on other maps to this one. And I mean, if it's just an unloomed vill with the scout here, you might not be able to kill it, but you do delay the dock, which is still value in itself. No, do not use the demo here. Okay, good. Okay, a demo there would be nice. I mean, I know Northern Islands has been in the latest tournament, so that's what people associate the double vill thing with, but I mean, 2 vills has been a thing in, for example, on Migration. I've seen that done on 4 lakes as well. It's not as new as people might be thinking. Yes, it is chaotic, and Wisenatic is kind of winning it. He's been able to kill the fish. Four lakes is not ideal in 1v1, but in team games you might actually want to do that because you don't want to get doubled by scouts. Unless you coordinate with your... let's say you're the flank, you coordinate with your pocket to send both scouts with your vills to the dock. Unless you want to do that, you just send 2 vills, because then you do not have to sacrifice scouting information. Yeah, but again, the issue is not once you get to the water, is as you're going to the water, if you get intercepted by 2 scouts. Okay, so Wisenatic just winning the water with way more ships. And again, it goes back to the, the advantage he got in early Dark Age. Well, not early, late Dark Age, because e1stea was down 3 vills, and that kind of has a ripple effect. He also is missing the fish now, whereas Wisenatic still has 2 fishing ships. He's up to castle. I don't know. I mean, on 4 lakes, by the time I go out for the dock, I'm already done with the with the deer normally, so it really depends. But again, I do tend to push my deer quite early in, so that they free out my scout and they can just go away. So that's just me, maybe. Okay, e1stea was trying to be sneaky. Okay, no, he was not trying to be sneaky. He just wanted to repair the ship. But he has yet to click up the castle. Does he even have the buildings? No, he's missing the blacksmith. So I don't think he's going to be happy about the uptime by Wisenatic. And Wisenatic almost has the... I mean, he almost has Imperial resources. But no, he's just going to drop TCs on the stone. And he already has a lot of bills on stone, so this might be... Yeah, he might not be thinking, let's... Oh. Come on, that's cheeky. That's super cheeky. Okay. So, okay, he might be thinking a castle. And he might not want to be booming this one. It might be a castle into Fast Imp, into Fetorias. Fetorias and just push with organ guns and stuff like that. I could see it work. Yeah, there's the castle, and by the time it goes up, I think Wisenatic will be able to click up to Imperial. Might have to maybe abuse the market a little bit, but he should be. Okay, I mean, I still have another... Oh, no, 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 no. That was so unfortunate. Okay, let's... Let's get a slow motion there. Oh, we do not have slow... Okay, yeah, we do have slow motion. What am I talking about? Yeah, so the fires destroyed the castle foundation. So if you thought this couldn't get any worse for e1stea, think again. That's pretty sad. And of course he calls the GG there, and you can feel the pain in that smile. But yeah, I mean, Wisenatic was about to have his castle up and click up to Imp, so it was GG. And as Otter mentioned in the chat, this has been GG for a while now. Yeah. Yeah, so Wisenatic taking this to 0 with a strong display. Let's look at statistics. Yeah, more economy by Wisenatic. It was actually later to Fiddle, but again, losing 3 bills in Dark Age makes that faster uptime pretty much useless for e1stea. Yeah, way more bills. Okay. So that was our second set. Let me go back to the drafting table and we'll talk about the next one, which is going to be the third and last one for today. And it's going to be shiXo against Toady. So let's introduce the players. shiXo, he's not a German player who was very opinionated about the coronavirus apparently, and he's around 2k2 as well, so he's up there, and he's been with us for a while. I think he's played in the first season as well. I remember playing him in the second one. I do not remember if he was in the first one, but I think he was. Toady, slightly lower elo, about 200 elo lower. I think this is the first time he plays in the Alchemy League. I mean, this first season he plays in the Alchemy League, and he is from the UK. Okay. Once again, I do not think this difference in eco is going to be enough for a handicap, but we'll see. Now, as for maps, we have Gugong for game 1, which tells us this was played in round 2. And then we have the Thaw as our second map. And I'm happy because both maps have given us quite interesting games so far. So I'm curious to see how these 2k plus players will be playing them. Now, as for civs, we have Britons, Spanish, Byzantines, Celts, and Dravidians banned by the randomizer. shiXo went on to ban Persians and Malay, and sniping Georgians. Toady, on the other hand, banned Koreans and Bohemians and sniped Portuguese. That leaves shiXo with Turks, Hindustanis, and Magyars, whereas Toady is left with Mongols, Khmer, and Cumans. So once again, we have a very strong draft from both players. And I see some proper arena civs there. Turks is probably going to be for Gugong. And Hindustanis and Magyars, because of the aggressiveness potential, are going to be able... I mean, they have potential, they both have potential for the Thaw. For Toady, I'm not too sure. I think Humans is for Gugong, so the arena style map. But I do not think Humans work as well on that one as they would on arena. So we'll see. And Mongols could work on Gugong and the Thaw as well. But we'll see. Let me load up the game real quick. Okay, there we are. Let me change. Okay, so game 1, we have Gugong. We have shiXo here in the teal, playing as the Turks. That was kind of expected. And then we have Toady playing as the Cumans in the red. Now, as I was mentioning, Cumans are a pretty strong choice for arena maps because of the booming potential, as we saw in our first set on Lagoon Forest. The thing is, you do not have that much space on this map. Yes, you have stone walls, which is nice, especially for Cumans, because they have no access to those, so just having them generated by the map is always good to see. But where are you going to drop your second TC? Right? Is it going to be on the gold? Is it going to be on the stone? Sure, you can do both, but then if Turks come in with a castle drop, which they often do, you're going to get your resources denied, and your TC is going to be useless. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, Cumans, they can go aggressive on arena style maps. They can go for the ramp play, or they could also go for what is probably my favorite play as Cumans, especially in 1v1s. Team games, not as much, but 1v1s, I really like that. Which is, you trash with Cumans, and you drop a second TC behind that. right? So you're basically applying all the pressure on your opponent and buying yourself time to boom behind with the second TC. Because generally speaking, when people are playing against humans, they tend to go aggressive because they do not want to get you to let you boom freely. But if you're going aggressive yourself and booming behind that, then yeah, you get better chance at doing your own thing. It is not that much of a popular strat on Arena from what I've seen, but it's still one of my favorites. But we'll see. We'll see what they have in store for us. So neither player is going for this free hand, right? So as you can see, the map spawns with different sections. The ones in the corner, they're always the same. There's always a relic with some gold, and they're surrounded by houses. That's always the way. The central one is always the same, so you have 2 relics. And then you have 2 sections on the sides. One has deers and 4 boars, and the other one has stone and a single relic. And we've seen some players just go out and try and luring the board to get them back to the base, just to get that extra food in. Okay, shiXo taking a single hit from the humans. He's going to try and go back, trying to lure his opponent in, but yeah, Toady doesn't buy it. Gets a free hit on himself, but it's fine. Oh yeah, and he's going to keep the door open. Okay, yeah. Now you just give up. I mean, you're humans, so you should be able to be up faster than your opponent. That's what you usually do. And shiXo should be expecting this as well. Right? You know you're against humans on Marina style map. You know they're going to go most likely for a fast feudal. There it is. Oh. Oh. Oh yes, Toady. Please do the tower rush. Oh yeah, I love to see this. I mean, for what other reason would he be on stone? Okay, he's going forward. Okay, yes, yes, yes. Now we're talking. Okay, so there's going to be a trash. Where is the second TC going? Because honestly, I would like it here, right? Or even on the gold. I think this is the one your opponent would be expecting. This, because it's arguably the most efficient because you have 4 boars and deer. But you could make an argument for the gold and the stone as well. Although that's going to be an exposed second TC, so... Oh yeah, shiXo. Yeah, shiXo doesn't know about this. There's the tower. Oh yeah, shiXo sees that. And he's going to move his villagers. He's not up to feudal yet. He does have... No, he doesn't have loom. Wait. Then why was he missing some gold? Wait, do you start with dust gold on this map? That's... Okay, I'll have to check back after we're done casting this game because now I'm curious. Yeah, there's the second TC going up for Toady. Now this tower is not meant to do much damage. It's just meant to, you know, make sure your opponent is not going to pressure you. It's just meant to keep your opponent at home. Now, if you can get through the walls and drop a second one here and maybe deny that gold, that's amazing. That's amazing value. That villager just refusing to attack the wall despite the fact that he should be able to reach it. Yeah, look at that. What the? Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, Feudal is in for shiXo, so he drops a market here. And that's going to pretty much kill the tower rush from Toady. Yeah, I was about to say, unless Toady makes a tower here, that's going to take care of the woodline. Completely denied on this side. There's a blacksmith going up here, so even if he rebuilds the lumber camp here, it's not going to be efficient. But now shiXo is going on stone, so he's probably going to make a single castle here. Maybe here. Yeah, if you make a castle here, you can then send your Janissaries outside from the gate, and you take care of the towers. So this is going to be a good spot. And you also secure the gold. Okay, so Toady is going to go around, okay. Toady is going to go around and maybe drop a tower here, but... I mean, shiXo, did he get loom? He did, so he could easily delete the walls and send the boys and the girls to take down that tower, if he wanted to. Or drop a tower of his own, I guess. Yeah, you will fight that. Yeah, if you're Toady, you just run. I mean, you're ahead by 9 vills. And now, I mean, you're on stone yourself, so even if Janissaries come out, you maybe drop a tower here, or you start dropping towers just to go tower defense in this situation, and you might be fine. And yeah, this tower is going to be annoying on the stone. Okay, so I thought shiXo would drop the castle defensively to take down these 2 towers, but no, he's going aggressive with the castle. That's actually bad for Toady. Oh. Oh yes. Oh yes. Okay, Toady needs to be careful because there's a light cap now. Turks get that upgrade for free. Yeah, Toady is like, yeah, I got no army, but I got vills. And keep in mind, Toady is idling 18 vills, but he has 40 total. shiXo is idling 10 vills, and he doesn't even have 30. So, yeah, in the long run, this is still better for Toady. shiXo should win this. Yeah, he also has the light cap, but he's not watching. Yeah, he's dropping the castle at home. He's going to win this vial fight. He might lose that vill and that vill because it's going to die. No, he's not going to die to the tower. Yeah, but this is an amazing amount of idle idle eco time for shiXo. Toady still had, and now he forced the castle at home for shiXo, which is good for him because now, as I mentioned, he doesn't have to worry about a castle on his walls. He just needs to think about how to counter the Janissaries, which towers. They won't be countering them, but they will be buying him time. Yeah, there's the tower. Straight away. Oh yeah, Toady got wheelbarrow to chase shiXo down. That's the good old meta when tower rushes were still viable on Arabia. With the Incas, when you went fast feudal into blacksmith and wheelbarrow just to have the super strong villagers. Those were the days. The good old noble rush. And shiXo behind this, dropping the market. He's soon going to have the wood for a blacksmith. Once he drops that, he's up to castle. He's on stone. He's heavily on stone, actually. So defensive castle from him. And then you have a superior eco against a Turkish push. But then again, the Turks had to idle so much just to get the castle up. So there might not be a fast team behind this from Turks, especially when they're making Janissaries. Yep, there's castle. Preemptive tower to protect that gold and that stone. A couple of bills might go down. Actually, none. Who? Okay, one goes down. Yeah, and these are safe. Amazing defense from Toady. Dropping a barracks. Yeah, with this amount of eco, he could justify going into military now in Castle Age, just to make sure that the Janissary numbers do not get too crazy. Oh. Yeah, and shiXo was trying to take this hunt. Toady knows about it, kills a Vil, and now he's going to run back because he knows that now Janissaries will be coming out. I mean, will be coming to this side. But he knows shiXo has eco here. So if he's going for military of his own, there's the stable. I mean, you make some light cav or even some knights. You just run around. You avoid the Janissaries. You come here, you kill the Vils. That's amazing value, right? Because your opponent is still on 1 TC. He has 41 eco at the moment. So killing 6 of them, which is the amount he has here, is going to be massive. Yeah, double stable for Toady. So we've already mentioned that, but quick reminder that humans do not get stone walls. So if you lose these, you cannot build more. You can repair the stone walls, but you cannot build new ones. So Toady needs to be careful about that, because one single stone wall piece going down means there's going to be a huge break in his defense. Well, I mean, he's going tower defense. This tower might go down if he's not careful. Because, yeah, this tower and this tower, they're not in range of others, so... Well, this one as well. So Janissaries could potentially just sit underneath them and take them down if they wanted to. Still, that buys Toady some time. And if you're Toady, you do not try to take this with the knights. I think you just go for the kill here. You just go for eco damage. If you want to kill... No. I do not like this. No. I mean, sure, you're going to get kills, but... it's risky. Okay, that's... okay. What do I know? That was amazing. Yeah, but there's more Janissaries coming down here. Yeah, but look at that eco difference now. 14 Vils ahead for Toady. He's on 3 TCs. shiXo still on 1. He might be thinking to stay on 1 and just go up to Imperial behind this. But that's a bit risky. I mean, that's something that Turks can do very well, but it's still risky. He's going for relics. Toady has a monastery of his own. Toady dropping a castle here on the stone. Okay. But now we have a forward castle from shiXo, who is going... Yeah, he's clicking up to imp. Okay, so now both players will be on a timer. So shiXo, it is going to be a timer within which he needs to do a lot of damage and kill his opponent, because he's going to have the Imperial Age power spike. Toady, he's on a timer to survive. Right, if he can survive this and go up to imp, he is going to have a superior eco. He is going to have access to amazing units, and he can maybe, well, not maybe, he can win this, right? But he needs to survive. Luckily for him, he's going to have this safe eco behind this castle. But yeah, now you need the second armor, 100%. Now, as humans, you do not have good monks, right? Yeah, no redemption. So he's not going to be able to convert the bomber cannons coming from the Turkish player. No block printing. So yeah, Toady is going to struggle here. Now that said, we still have no siege workshop for... Okay, there it is. shiXo, yeah, he doesn't know about this. So that's nice. Yeah, monks for the Turks, so those knights are going to be pointless. At least in those numbers. Okay, we have Devotion. And we have Captram, so... Only one Siege Workshop for Toady. I mean, if Toady can get, like, 3 to 4 Captrams with some knights behind, he might be able to take down the castle and any potential bomber cannons, because... Ooh, that's another castle coming up. That's not good. Yeah, Toady will have to fight Imperial Age unit. Well, there's still Castle Age units, because you're missing the Elite upgrade. He's going to have to fight Janissaries with Knights. Still missing the second armor upgrade, but he does have more numbers. That's maybe... Yeah, I think he's overextending. Yeah. Yeah, he kind of overextended. I think the knights needed to be on the traps. You need to take down the siege, right? You need to focus on the siege. Because otherwise your opponent cannot push. The only thing enabling this push to continue is the siege. And your opponent does not have a great eco behind, so every trebuchet they lose, or bamboo cannons they lose, it's a huge hit. But now their siege is safe. They have double castle. They have a big enough army of Janissaries to be able to one-shot your knights. Yeah. Yeah. shiXo. Yeah. Have they made melee pathing worse? Yeah, they have. I mean, they said they fixed it, but it is definitely worse. I think that's something to do with the way they changed the animations. I think that also screws with the pathing. I'm not too sure though, so that's just my impression. But anyway, well played. shiXo takes the first game. Well played to both. I loved Toady approach to this, right? The tower rush, booming behind with the TC, sending Vils forward to take down the... to fight the Vils from shiXo who were trying to drop a castle. That was amazing plays. Those were amazing plays. I think maybe he could have had more knights earlier and should have kept an eye on the middle. Because, you know, at the end of the day, that's what Turks want. They want a castle in your face, so they have a position from where to shoot you with the bomber cannons and the Janissaries. So maybe you should have more army patrolling the middle and keeping control of that, so that villagers do not come forward. So yeah, maybe that. But I think it also boils down to shiXo just playing this very, very well. He dealt well with the tower pressure. He was able to, I wouldn't say come back because he wasn't that behind, but he answered well to his castle being denied, his first castle being denied. So yeah, I think both players played this very well. Yeah, and as Tech is saying, it just boils down to Turks being amazing on Arena. Especially on this one. I think if this was proper Arena, let's say, and so you have a bigger base available, then that really helps the Kim and Boom, right? Because, for example, you're not open like this in the back, so Toady doesn't have to spend that many resources for towers. He has more space to boom, and so I think he's able to field more army. He maybe is able to go up to Imperial even, and that becomes a different game. But still, well played to both. Let's take a quick look at statistics, and then we'll move on to game 2. Oh, wait, before I do that, yeah, let's look at statistics. Okay, before I do that, I want to check because okay, so shiXo had 100 gold. I know he then goes down to 50. Wait, did the queue loom behind the feudal age? Is that what I'm missing? Okay, yeah, he did. Okay. Now that makes sense. Okay. I was confused about that for a moment. Alright. Let's go for game number 2. Yeah, Jack, I think the game would go on for a little more if the siege goes down. Because he had something like 14 knights. So if he's able to snipe the first trap and the first bomber cannon with the knights and then has more production behind, I think it goes on for a little more. Now, do I think that Toady would have won if he had taken down the siege? Probably not. It's still an uphill battle for him. But I think that buys him some time. And as I was mentioning, his opponent had very little eco. Because I don't think he had 6 devils by that point. So losing a trap and a bomber cannon, that's what, 850 resources down the drain. That's huge when you're on low eco. Okay, so the Thaw, very aggressive map, because players start very close to each other. We see Toady trying to go for the lane, but gets spotted and stopped immediately. Toady playing as the Mongols here, so laming would have been amazing for him had it gone through. And we have Hindustanis. for shiXo. Yeah, and Toady, yeah, I agree with him. And that's another thing, right? The animation, yeah, the animation makes it very awkward to lame as well. Especially when you've played for a long time and so you're used to the old one. I mean, Toady is still going to take two sheep, so I don't think he's going to be too sad about that. But I mean, he still lost some HP on the scout for nothing, basically, but better than nothing. Yeah, TCs hit nothing, that doesn't change between patches. So, I mean, there's no point in even garrisoning there. Okay, so Toady get... Oh, no. shiXo might be able to get 4 sheep out of this. Okay, no. So, Toady... Is he going to take the fight? No. Okay, so shiXo's still down 2 sheep. Okay, down 1. And Toady had basically no idle time behind that, so he might be used to the laming. To the laming game. Okay, here's the mill for Toady on the fish. shiXo already has that. He does have a slightly better spot for fishing, because there's 3 of them. I mean, there's 3 here as well, but they're not as close as they're here. But Toady, being Mongols, he's up to fuel super fast. Now bringing in those sheep, he stole from his opponent. Let's see, HP 39. Okay, so even if he gets to fuel faster, he still cannot engage the enemy scout. Because he's going to lose that fight anyway. Oh, sorry, I still had the timeline up. Okay, there's the barracks for Toady. He is not on gold, so he should be going scouts, which makes absolutely perfect. Makes perfectly sense as Mongols. shiXo not on gold himself, so he's going scouts as well. He'll probably open with a spear, being slower to fuel age. Oh, shiXo even skipped loom. Sorry, Toady skipped loom because of his Mongols. And he's going to take down this scout from his opponent. Okay, that's good value. Yeah, now you just take this villager and you send him to the TC, so he is protected. That was a nice quick wall. Yeah, if shiXo is careful, he's sending scouts. If he's careful, he might be able to get that snipe on the Vil. Are there any weak Vils for Toady around? No. Yeah, Toady should not be able to get a kill on these Vils because there are spears protecting. There's going to be scouts out as well. Yeah, Toady will see the flags on the stable. He'll know about the spear, takes the first hit. That's fine, he's got one more coming. And he's going around with scouts. Okay, if his unit control is good, which I think it will be, he might be able to get a kill on these Vils. Right? On the bull line. Actually, okay, he's going to see these. Yeah, no, you're too close to the TC. You're not going to get that. There's a spear coming as well. Yeah, that's good unit control. Too many vills. Ooh, okay, he's going to get a kill. Nice. And he's going to get away. Okay, that's very good unit control. I mean, he lost 2 spears to the TC, which is not ideal. And what's the eco like behind this? Okay, he's got farms. Neither player got horse color. Okay. Both are ignoring the berries, which makes sense. They're a little too exposed. Also, I think I missed that. Yeah. I think shiXo killed the weak build, which was on this fish. Because he's got an eco kill. Actually, 2 eco kills. Okay. Toady trying to lure him into the TC. shiXo knows better than that. Okay, he might have seen that there isn't much wood left on those trees, so if he sees his opponent is forward with the scouts, he might go back there in the hope there's an overchop and get some kills. He's going to go around instead. He's on 8 scouts, making more, adding skirms now to deal with the spears. And the thing is that now, yeah, Mongols, they have that amazing hunting bonus. But at this point in the game, they have no bonuses left. Economically speaking. Whereas Hindustanis, their villagers, they got even cheaper in Feudal Age compared to Dark Age. shiXo has 3 spears protecting his villagers. He's got enough vills to take the fights against the scouts because, yeah, there are 6 scouts on the field. But 5 of them are very weak. So for the time being, both players are just, you know, trying to poke at each other with the scouts, protecting with the spears. shiXo going into archers, okay. So I thought it was going to be just skirmishers, but no, apparently he's making archers as well. He is on gold, which is safe because it's walled. Yeah, that was a little bit too ballsy for Toady. It was nice how he surrounded the villager trying to kill her, but yeah, the TC was right there. These scouts are just going to run on the farms. Ooh, they got a vill. Okay. But now we have the scouts in on the wood line. I think that's the 3rd kill. Might be able to get a 4th. Yeah. Yeah, and the spears now come, so he just tries to run away. There's a... No. Oh, there's no hole. Okay, that looks like a hole. Oh, he could have gotten that build if he wanted to. shiXo just got another one right underneath TC because he knew his opponent was busy microing this. And eco kills, they're pretty much the same. Yeah, now we have archers and skirms here. We have more scouts for shiXo. Resources are looking quite similar. Now the problem is Toady has stopped making army. And he's going to try to get a tower up here. Yeah, those scouts are going to kill so many vills. That's 2 vills. Would it be 3? Could be 4. Yeah, it's 4. Could be 5, really. Okay, never mind. He goes back. Okay, Toady clicks up. He's got a tower here, so his gold is safe. He might have some wood issues in a bit. But if he now gets to castle and starts making step lancers, this feudal army will melt. So he's going to have his slightly advantage when it comes to timing. He just needs to not lose more vills behind this. Maybe get the upgrades as you're going up. Yeah, there it is. He's going to have a 1 minute advantage over his opponent to castle age. So lancers or even knights. Knights are going to be a little bit more costly when it comes to gold. But they're going to be easier on food. So maybe, yeah, maybe you opt for knights. That said, you're going to be on cavalry against the Hindustanis. And they're amazing camels. So that's not going to be as ideal. Have bloodlines coming in for both of them. Double stable, okay, it's going to be lancers. And shiXo, I mean, he might be happy to see lancers because now he can naturally go into camels, which is his best unit anyway, as Hindustanis. Step lancers do have more HP for the Mongols. Ooh, that's another snipe for shiXo. And as I mentioned, now Toady, he's going to have some wood problems. He is out of wood. And he is out of wood access. He will have to move here. Okay, no, he's moving here. Okay, I'm blind. Okay, so camels, they do deal bonus damage to the lancers. Lancers, though, because you have 1 range, you can somewhat micro them and be annoying. And Toady is mixing in some camels of himself. That's nice, because then you will have just an overall better melee composition at these numbers. Right, because the camels will engage in the front and then you will have the lancers in the back dealing extra damage. Yeah, it just overall helps with the awful melee pathing we have in this game. Yeah, but shiXo, he's behind in vills. But it's easier for him to be floating food. And yes, he's behind, but his eco is healthier because he is not struggling for wood. Yeah, and Toady calls the GG. Maybe it might be slightly early of a GG. But look at how stretched his eco is, right? He's on 8 farms. Single TC. shiXo, yes, he's behind in vills, but as I mentioned, 2 TCs. He's got, well, he is ahead in 1 eco upgrade. And he's got the better unit for the time being. He's going to add some monks just to even out the fact that Lancers are just insane. So yeah, maybe a little bit early for Toady, but it was a rough situation. All right, so shiXo taking this 2-0 in a pretty short game too. That said, it was short, but it was intense, right? The fighting in feudal with the scout was great. You can tell these two players are quite high with the reload. Actually, let me go back because I was focusing a lot on shiXo's base. Didn't look too much because at one point I looked at the eco kills and shiXo actually had more than his opponent. Oh yeah, this is the moment. Yeah, he got on that wood line, killed the vills. And at the same time, Toady was getting here to maybe take some vills. Yeah. Yeah, this is what you would expect from two players of this level on such an open map. That's just good playing all around. Yeah, Rest Collected are quite similar, right? Feudal times quite similar. Oh, they both got to a maximum of 24 vills. That's not... Oh, that's right, actually. Ooh. Oh, no, wait, because I'm dumb. Of course, at that point of the game... Okay, this makes more sense. Okay. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong statistics. I mean, still quite close. Military numbers. Yeah, that's another thing. shiXo, he kept making military in feudal as he was working his way up to Castle Age. Toady, the moment he started having resources for Castle Age, he kind of stopped making them. He didn't switch to archers, for example. So yeah, in the end, he was slightly faster to castle. But then by that point, his opponent had more armies, so... Yeah, look at this. So Toady got to castle with 3 army, shiXo with 13. And by the time shiXo got to castle, he still had 12 army and Toady had 5. So yeah, shiXo sacrificed some castle up time, but he had the army advantage. Oh, and Toady actually had the better APM. Okay. Yeah, better picks. So overall, Toady is also a faster player. And I could tell, right? But the way he was using his scouts, you could definitely tell he's a good player. He's a fast player with his hands. Anyway, those were the 2 games for today. Thank you to anyone who joined. I don't see anyone that I could be raiding, so I think I'll just end this stream with that. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will be seeing you next time. Have a good one. Bye bye.